think this gives a good area for me to be and also see in this mirror. Let's get started. I was going to wait for someone to come in, but why bother? So we're going to start by putting on eyeshadow primer. This helps your eyeshadow stick and stay pigmented and not roll up in your creases. Hello, I see there's a number here. Hi, welcome. We're just getting started. We're going to do makeup first, then hair, and then the dress last, of course. Well, I guess they're not here for the makeup. Feel free to say hi in the chat. I don't bite. Especially because this is digital. Not like I could if I wanted to. Just letting this get dryish. Eyeshadow primer makes a huge difference for the opacity of your eyeshadow when you put it on. And then I can't make a wing, but I'm gonna teach you guys a hack. So these are eyeshadow guides and they're stickers. And you put them on, you know, like this-ish, however you want yours. I try to do mine like this. And then when I put on my eyeshadow, I use a brush to, like, you know, out here, and it makes a wing with eyeshadow. And you're gonna see it. Hi, hello, Roy Richmond, hello, Layla Susans, hello. Everyone else, feel free to say hi to me in the chat. You can chat me up, ask me questions, talk to me, all that stuff. I'll probably ramble just because that's what I do. If you have not subscribed yet, please do so. I make fashion content, sometimes food, occasionally finance stuff, depending, you know, what I got going on. I review things that I buy on the internet, and I'm also telling you my story about me, all that stuff. I do have a documentary from my bariatric adventure, and I'm actually working on another one. It's going to be very exciting. So let's put these on. If you guys have been here for a while, you know what kind of stuff I do. I love a good outfit, and we're going to make one today. So on Fridays, I produce a podcast with a YouTube friend of mine. It's K84 Podcast. If you want to check it out, it's a fun show. I love it. So we're going to get ready because that's what I'm doing later. And I am always fly when I go to the podcast. I figure any chance to look awesome is a chance I want to take. And even though, like, I'm behind the scenes at the podcast, I don't care. I still want to be the flyest person there. And I am. Now, getting these on symmetrically is a challenge, but we're going to try it. Hello, Shamika. Welcome. I am doing makeup, hair, and then there's a dress. But we're doing makeup first. My skincare, I'm gonna be honest with y'all, is minimal. So, like, I wash my face with antibacterial hand soap, keeps my skin and my piercings clean. and I moisturize with a hyaluronic serum after, and then I degrease like 3 times a day with astringent, the blue stuff, because I have very oily skin. And that is the extent of the skincare I do, other than I stay out of the sun most of the time, so I don't look as wretched as I could for my age. Thank you, Roy. See if I can't get these on here symmetrically. If I am going to get a lot of sun exposure, I'll put on a little SPF 100 because I need maximum strength protection. You know, like, look at this. My skin color is not even the same. Like, it's crazy out here. All right, so this not only helps with fallout, but it's going to give me these crisp edges. So that's the plan. I use this brush to start with. You can use whatever you want. So the thing about makeup is the names are suggestions, but you can do whatever you want with it. And I like this brush. I don't know what its name is, but it's a skinny, fluffy one. And that's the one I like to start with. And this is where I'm going to put my black. I ran out of the matte black because I use it the most, so we're using shimmery black. This is how we're going to make our wings, and then I try to get those symmetrical. Christian Aguiluz, your name is Ashley. Hi, welcome, Ashley. Let's do this. So, like, I'm going to try and support my hands here and then here. That way I have a little bit of stability. Maybe it helps. And then I'm just going to start doing this. The lighting in here is garbo. I'm going to get all up on it and have a look. That's a good start. Now we're going to try and make the other side match. And over here, I'm going to do it like this and support with my thumb. You're in your dad's account. That's cool. So are you into makeup or hair or dresses? I like all of them, but I also love shoes. I wear a lot of dresses, especially fancy ones, just anytime, because I love them. I love a beautiful outfit. I also paint my nails all the time because I love beautiful nails. Okay. So this one is definitely more opaque than this one, so now we have to try and darken this side up a little. Got a light panel coming in the mail so I can create more light over here. I used to have a different light, but it died. And so now I only have these like overheady ones, and they're not as good for being able to see my face from the front. Bear with me here. I think you can see me. All right, now let me try and look at the symmetry. So what I do is I try and look at how long is this wing? How far does it go out? And are they the same? So this one seems like it's a little bit shorter than this one. So I'm going to try and add a little bit more. Pardon me if I'm out of the view. Okay. That one's longer, but it dips a little, so I'm trying to straighten that line. Now this one's a little bit longer, so now we have to even up this side. You guys know how this happens with eyeliner. Okay. Do they look even? This one's straighter than this one again. We don't need to lengthen it, but I need it to... I think that's better. What do you think? Yeah? Wow, Roy, that's a strange thing to say. Like, why would you subscribe in the first place if you think my videos suck? Like, if this is not the content for you, why were you here? You ever think about that? Like, that doesn't make any sense. And then for you to come back to tell me about it, did you think that I was worried about it? Like, because I am not. I don't need you. You don't have to be here. I make content for people who enjoy it, not for haters and crybabies. It's that simple. Just if you don't like it, don't watch it. Piss off. Right? Easy. So, next, we're going to add some lid color. And normally I try to match the lid color to my outfit, but my outfit is black. One of the pairs of shoes I'm considering, because there's two, has gold detailing on it. So I feel like we should lean into that, because even if I don't choose those shoes, I can wear gold jewelry. So I think that's what we'll do. The gold that I have in this palette, actually I have a more goldy one. I have a champagne-y one and I have this one. Let's use this more goldy one, this color. And so I'm just going to pat that on. That way we get a nice opaque layer. Once we get it on there, then we'll worry about blending the two together. Roy, are you 10? How old are you? Why are you here? You said you didn't like it and you unsubscribed. So, like, I don't know what you're hanging around with. It kind of makes it look like you're obsessed with me. Is that the case? Is this like a stalker situation? Because I'm not interested in having a stalker. But thank you. Thank you for the flattery. I understand why you would want to. I know. Some of the videos I post make me look really pretty, and that's hard to resist. I get it. But, like, grow up. Okay, so what I do to blend it is I take a little bit more of that eyeshadow, the gold, and then I rub it across the edge of this black so it smears it together. Yeah? And then I take a little fluffy brush, and then we're going to run this through the crevasse to deepen the socket and pull that black over some more with it. Yeah, you see? And that's kind of how I do it. Now, with my eye shape, I have hooded eyes. So, like, when they're open, you can't see most of that. So it's like, whatever. I'm not super picky about it because you can't see it most of the time anyway. Man. So now that we have that, we can take these off. I tell you, that doesn't feel very good, but that's the process. And so now we have crisp wing lines. And then I'll take a makeup wipe and we'll clean off the debris under here because we're going to fix that. Careful not to touch your wings. Yeah. Okay. I don't care, Roy. I don't know why you're back. Okay. So now that that is dry, I take this little brush. This one's thinner. It's getting pretty fat with age, though. It used to be much more crisp, but this is how I'm going to make the bottom eyeliner, because I find that when I use legitimate eyeliner, it just runs down the crack of my eyes more easy, but this stays better. So I just dip it in my eyeshadow, the same one I used to make this black, and we're going to make eyeliner. I'm going to hold this, and we'll just put it on the edges. That side, now this side. Yeah, so that's how that goes. Now what I also sometimes do is make these connect, because like as you can see, they don't currently, but if I pull this tight and I'm careful, I can fill in this gap. Right? But because I can't make it crisp like that, I have to go in after and use my makeup wipe and straighten that little line where it gets blurry, just to pull those two together. And now we have a crispy wing. So that's how I do that. Now we'll do the other side. Why are you lying to yourself? Does it help you? Because I know they do, which is why my subscribers continue to grow. But honestly, it doesn't matter, because the point of doing YouTube is for the enjoyment. If you're not having a good time doing it, it's not for you. And I'm going to put on the outfits whether you like it or not. And I'm going to eat the food that I eat whether you like it or not. I'm going to do hair and makeup whether you like it or not. And so since I'm doing it either way, it doesn't matter what you think or if you watch it, because I'm still doing it. And so why not post it for the people who do enjoy it? And then if they don't, they can simply choose to watch something else, because YouTube is a vast place with lots of content for lots of interests and people. We don't all have to like the same things, you know. Unfortunately, some folks have sad, pitiful lives and can't find content that they enjoy, so they'd rather search the internet looking for strangers to try and talk trash to, because it makes them feel better about themselves, even though ultimately it doesn't work, because you're not any better off once you talk shit to somebody you don't even know. It just makes you look stupid, and honestly, you should be embarrassed, because it's super childish and nobody thinks it's cute or funny. Nobody would even watch that content. It's lame and it's boring. Nobody's into it. How many likes do your mama have? Probably none. How many likes do you have? Probably none. You probably don't even have a real channel. All you have is your little profile that you walk around the internet crying for attention. Oh, I don't like your video. Pay attention to me. I'm so important. Wah, 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 wah. Nobody cares. Nobody cares at all. And a lot of people may not care to watch me get dressed. And that's fine too, because I don't care. I'm going to do it either way. Because I'm not a petty child who has no life. So, mascara time. Who can put on mascara without holding their mouth wide open? I think it's hilarious that some people do open their mouth super wide for this. I don't have very much in the way of eyelashes, but we gonna put some on what I do have. It does at least make them not invisible, which is great. I don't wear false eyelashes though, because I can see them and I don't like the way they feel, though they are pretty sometimes. Like my daughter wears them. I can see the appeal of them. Damn it. I hate when I'm doing this and I touch my eye and it causes me to blink, because now I have to clean that up. But mascara is the extent of the makeup I'm willing to do on my eyelashes. You see, when I blink, it made it touch all this, and I'm going to clean that off. Fabulous. I got a few eyelashes that are like stuck together here. Let's see if I can't get them apart with this spoolie. It's because I had mascara on from yesterday too, and it's like, let's just cluster with that. There we go. That's better. And then I have this eyebrow pencil, which I am by no means an expert at eyebrows. Hello, is it Musa Milsha? But I'm going to put a little bit of this in here. Basically, my goal with this is to create shadow, because my eyebrows are blonde. Like, you can't see them. But if I can darken them a little bit, then you kind of can. So I just put some in here. And then I use the spoolie end to just try and diffuse it, blend it all out. And that way there's just a little bit of a darkening. And then you can tell I have eyebrows. And that is what I do for that. Now, I have eye bags because I am old. So I use this. It's just a caffeine eye cream, but it really does help, which is crazy. You just put some and then you fill it in these gaps. Try not to touch your makeup. And you gotta rub it in real good, otherwise it creates like a white cast. I try and smear the excess like down and out, because you want it to be as thin as possible. But as that dries, it tightens the skin, and so it makes your eye bags less. Maybe one day I'll get surgery or something to fix it, but it's not at the top of my list. Especially because even with eye bags, I'm still hot. So it's not that big of a problem. All right, so we'll let those dry. And then I will clean off my hands because I got makeup and stuff on them. Sometimes I get eyeshadow everywhere because I'm a mess. But that's the makeup. So I can put these things away and then we'll start hair. But actually, food. I cooked some chicken in the air fryer, which I need to go get. Are you still talking? Don't you have anything better to do? I guess not. I'm going to point y'all at the wall for a sec. I am back. I have chicken. So, might as well tell you about my whole food thing. So, every day for breakfast, I eat a protein bar. I didn't used to be a breakfast eater, but then I started drinking a lot of caffeine. And so I needed to offset that so I don't get the caffeine shake. So I eat protein for breakfast. And then every day for lunch, I eat chicken, which is also protein. And it provides me enough nutritional value that I don't feel like I'm starving, but without all the excess nonsense to make me feel unwell. And I eat mustard for a dip because it doesn't have calories. And it's delicious. So that's how I cover my breakfast and my lunch meals every day. And then for dinner, it can vary just depending on what I'm feeling like. But I still do eat mindfully and a pretty limited variety of things just because I'm picky and consistency is easy. If you have watched my bariatric documentary, then you'll understand why all of that matters. But for the sake of healthy and clean eating, That is why I do it. Okay, so we're gonna do hair, and the way that we're gonna do hair is we're doing flat iron curls. So curling my hair with a flat iron, it creates soft, loose, like wave-like curls instead of tight ones like you would get with a curling iron. And we're also eating. So. First, we need to section my hair. I have these little clips. Ow. My plate is taking up some of my workspace, but that's all right. So. It's easier if you section your hair into a couple of, I say a couple, but I do like 6, 7 sections into sections. That way you can just work through them from the bottom to the top, and then you're not having to like move your hair out of the way to try and access what's underneath it and all that nonsense. So that's what we'll do. We'll get this all sectioned off, and then we'll just work through it a little at a time. I like to do 2 on the top. That way they're not too big. That doesn't make any sense. Why are you still here? I thought you didn't like my content. Obviously, that's not true, since you seem to be obsessed with it. Hanging around like you ain't got nothing else to do. Don't you have a job? Of course not. You're probably a child on summer break. Did you know that engagement feeds the algorithm? So like likes, comments, interaction, things like that. Those are things that the algorithm favors. And when you do them, it lets YouTube, and it works the same on the other socials, know that this video is engaging. It is something that people want to interact with. And so it pushes that content out to more people so that they have the opportunity to also engage in said content. So that's my favorite thing about haters on the internet, is ultimately it feeds the algorithm just like anything else. A comment is a comment. It doesn't matter what is said. It doesn't matter if it's a compliment or trash talking. It makes no difference to the algorithm. YouTube is going to see that and be like, oh, this person is enjoying the conversation here. Let me tell other people about it. And so that's why I don't mind. It's totally fine. If you want to spend your time feeding my algorithm, then by all means do so. It does nothing but help me out. So thank you. You don't have to lie though. I mean, we know you're a child. We know you are because of the childish behaviors. No grown adult would waste their time like this, but that's fine. It doesn't matter to me, because again, the algorithm doesn't care. They don't care if you're a little crybaby and you're just in here to wah, wah, wah. It does not matter. Helps me out. And honestly, it gives me something to do, something entertaining while I'm getting myself together. So imagine how much more boring this would be if you weren't here, and so I didn't have anybody to talk to. Wouldn't that be crazy? But we both know you don't want that. You do not want me getting bored, because you are here to make sure that this video stays engaging and entertaining, and so that YouTube continues to feed my channel. Right? So now that we've got all that done, let's turn this on. I hadn't turned it on yet because I don't want to be burning things up unnecessarily. I'm going to do 390 for my temperature. I do have fine, like soft hair, so I don't need a super high temperature, but I like to do like a medium high temperature. That way it doesn't, I don't have to like hold it as long, because I'm not making multiple passes. We're making curls, so you get like one good go. If you have to do it again, sometimes it doesn't curl, it straightens it out. One sec. My family has returned home, so I don't need all that noise. That's still heating up. I'm getting very full. I've got about 2 bites left of this chicken, and then I'm going to be at capacity. The only downside to eating while I'm getting dressed is that I'm full by the time I actually end up getting dressed. And so my belly will be all round. But it's fine. There we go. That's done. Get it out the way. I am full though. You ever get full and it feels like your lungs don't have enough space to expand? So you're like, I need to lean back and make more room. That's kind of what happens to me. My iron is hot. Okay, so I'm going to split this into 2 pieces, because you just want like little sections, not super big, but they don't have to be super tiny either. Just, you know, a reasonable size curl, like 1 inch by 1 inch bit of hair. Get that out the way. So you start up near the base, and it's just like when you were in school and you would make ribbons with scissors. You twist it, and then when you pull it, it creates a curl. Hair does the same thing. It's so cool. And then I alternate. So like that one I went that way, and so this one I'm going to go this way, because if you do them all the same direction, they'll wrap around each other and make mega curls, and I want mine to be individualized. But also, natural curls are not all one direction. They vary, and so it gives it a more natural look. Now, instead of like raking my hands through here, I'm just gonna separate them intentionally. If you pull them apart too much, then it makes it pull your curl out and they get a little fuzzy. You don't want to put much pulling on curls though, because they will straighten. And then I just put a little hairspray while it's sitting, and I'll do that through each section so that it gives it a little bit of strength. It's not enough to make it like firm, but it helps it hold. Because I have this very soft, fine hair, my curls tend to like just stretch out over the course of the day, and so giving them a little bit of extra helps. Now, what I can't do is brush this. Like, if I were to want to go brush out my curls, ain't gonna be no curls. I'll have a few waves, but they will come straight out, because I stress them out touching them, so I don't do that. I'm just gonna try and situate them as I go. I'm gonna use this to get that out of my way. And then we'll do this one like we did that first one, where we wrap it outwardly and then just pull that through. You got to try and kind of watch so that it's in the hot the whole time. If you don't, sometimes it can slide out and then it's not going to curl if it's not in the hot. All right, let's get this piece. And then we'll go the opposite direction with this one, just like we did on the other side. And just keeping an eye on it, make sure it stays between the two hot pieces. You don't want to go too fast because you want to have time to get its curl, but you don't want to go too slowly either and burn your hair. Like, I've seen videos of people burning their hair. I don't know how it happens. It's never happened to me. I'm like, how long do you have to hold it on there? Or what kind of products do you have to be using for that to happen? I don't know, but I'm not going to find out. Just gonna do it at a medium speed so it does not. All right, first layer done. Now we can move on to the next one. That's just kind of what we do. We go through here one section at a time, doing the curls and placing them. Start in the back, work your way forward. That's the easiest way. Use your clips. It's harder to see back here, so practice does help. Sometimes I hold my hair up so that I can see behind there what's going on. It's so dark in here. All right, see, I've got a curl back there. I won't tamper with them until I get all the way through this section. That gives these a bit of time to cool, because while they're still hot, they're still pliable. And so if you let them cool off before you go to touching them, they're less likely to fall out. That's a good one. Mm-hmm. There we go. Those all look good. Now we can start with this back one. Separate it into two pieces. If you do them very big, you can separate them into 3 pieces, but I don't do mine very big. You can't see. So I usually only separate them into 2. And they don't even have to be of even size. Just, I like to have a little separation. You don't have to, but I feel like if you do separate it, it just gives you a little bit more volume, a little bit more, oomph. And then give it a little blasty blast, and then we'll move to the other side and do the same thing. Make sure you're detangling as you go. If you have particularly textured or curly hair, You may want to brush through each of your little curl sections before you hit it with the iron. I don't usually need to do that, so I just do it once before I start separating it, and that's usually fine. Let's do this. This one's like really in the back, so I can't see hardly anything. I'm gonna do my best. Nobody ever really knows what's going on in the back of their hair. Hey, there's a curl back there. I saw it before it disappeared behind me. So we'll just keep working on it. And then again, like this one will go the other direction to provide that variance. They're looking good. All right, one more. Okay. Now, I'm going to have to do this by feel because I can't see that one back there, but we're going to separate it into two. Try not to be too rough because we don't want to make them fuzzy. And then this one, same thing. And this one also. And then this one. Yeah. And give it a little blast. Coming along. Yes. Good curls. This one's very small, so I'm not going to need to separate it. Okay. If you do them all really tiny, like you won't have to separate them, but I feel like it takes a lot longer. So that's why I try and do them in reasonable size sections that are like big enough that I don't have to do a million of them, but small enough that they actually curl. If you do too much, it won't heat your hair all the way through and it won't be curly. those are good. Let's see. That one doesn't need to be separated, but these do. Need to get them off of each other first. Okay. And this one is small, but I'm going to separate it anyway. There we go. That looks pretty good. Give it a little blast. Let's do this side now. If you're watching the playback of this, I know it gets a little boring when I'm not talking about nothing, but we're just doing hair. Let this be an in-depth tutorial on doing flat iron curls. This is another one that's just very far in the back, so I can't hardly see it, but it's relatively small, so I don't think I'll need to separate it. Okay, hopefully that looks good. I can't see it. All right. This one we can at least see. There we go. Goodness, my flat iron tipped over. All right. Now, if your curls are being pulled through too vertically, they also won't do a very good job curling. So try and keep your tension horizontal. So like, as you can see, the curls come downwards. I sometimes put my finger under here to keep that up, and then you want to keep your hair pulling out kind of sideways, because if you start to go downwards, it'll make it start to pull up through the top, and it may come out completely, but you will not get a good curl if you do that. There you go, flip it around. Try not to squeeze your iron too tight either. It makes it hard for the hair to slide. There we go. All right, let's separate a couple of these. Yes. That's pretty good. All right, so those are all the side sections. We'll be moving to the top two now. Those we have to work on a little bit differently because of the way we have to access them. This back section here, I like to separate it into two pieces. So I'll go through and I'll divide that so that technically I have three sections on top. I don't separate them into three sections to start though, but I don't like to make this section too harder, so I separate it and then I work on this because I can usually get this piece done in just 2 or 3 curls. So we'll start here. Got a little piece, and I'm gonna let that part sit forward. This does block my view quite a bit, as you can see, but it's fine. try and just kind of come upwards with it so that it stays straight. Okay. And sometimes you need to get a hold of them and do a little shake so they can curl up. All right, now we're going to do another one on this side. That's a bit of a bigger section, but it's fine. We do what we can. There we go. And then we have one more here on the top. I can't hardly see this one at all. There we go. All right. Those are okay. I'm not going to separate them because firstly, I can't see them. But secondly, we don't want to make them fuzzy on the top parts. Now we'll just work our way through a few up here on this row. And it's basically the same process because these are in the back. Once we get to this front section, we have to be a little bit more picky about how we separate them and how we lay them because they're going to be on top and in the front, and that's where they're going to be. And we want them to land in a good spot. That one already wants to separate into two. Might as well let it. There we go. Okay. This piece here is trying to leave its friend. I don't like that. Sometimes you gotta rub them so they go back together. What the hell is happening here? This is, I guess we'll just make that part of the front. I don't know why it's separate. All right, let's see if we can't do something with this. I'm gonna twist it and try and go straight up. Okay. Okay, let those be soft back there. Give it a little spray. this front section. I'm going to brush all this forward so that I can see, because we're going to kind of do the same thing where I'm going to separate this into two sections also. So like the front and then the medium front, like that. Then I'll take a piece. Okay. It's a relatively loose one. And then we'll take another piece. Brush it towards the direction that I want it to lay. And then I really need this to curl this way. This one decided it wanted to be a separate thing, so we will do that. There you go, buddy. Get back there. Now this one on this side is going to go to the other side. We're kind of building our part as we go. It ain't going to be straight, but I don't care about that. There we go. Let that one curl. Give it a little bit of the juice. Now we do the front same way. Couple on this side and then one over there. There we go. Turn this off because that's hot. I'll let that start cooling. So what I do is I go around the edges of my hair and just like pull any loose ones out, because you do get loose ones. I'm not finding a bunch of them, but look, there's one. And like my brush found them. So once we get all that done, we give it a moment to sit and cool. Then what I like to do is try and like blend these parts a little bit. And so I do that by like rubbing them together. You got to be careful though, because if you run your fingers through your length of curls, you'll mess them up. So I'm just rubbing the separations on the scalp, because I want to keep my curls separate. And then you can go like this also to blend your top and lift if you want some volume. So now what I sometimes do is I will take the curls from this side and like pull them over to this side to give more of a curvy top bit, and I'm thinking that might be what I want to do, especially because I like to tuck this side behind. So like these curls could easily come join the other side and give it a little bit more oomph up there. Just gotta blend them together so they'll stay, otherwise they're just gonna fall back. And we want it to lay in a way that looks nice. Once we get everything where we want it, we can hairspray it into place. And like I was saying, I like to tuck this side. And I'll check one more time for loose hairs. I found a bunch. Helps to look at it straight on also. Get these kind of smoothed out. See where everything is laying. That one needs to be stretched a little bit. Okay. Once you have everything where you want it, hairspray it. That will keep it where it's at mostly, especially if you go outside and it gets windy, because this will help resist that. So that's how I like to do my curls. That's still very hot. But we have reached the part where we're done with hair and makeup. That means it's time for the clothes. Now for that, obviously I'm not changing my clothes on camera. That's inappropriate and YouTube doesn't like it. So I'll be right there. Let me show you what I have though, while that cools. So this is the dress. It's got one sleeve and it's like this scrunchy stuff, right? So I'm gonna put that on. And then the two shoes that I'm deciding between are these and these. I like them both, but I'm gonna put them on my feet and look at them with the dress and walk in them, because this one's a little bit higher than this one, so it's harder on the ankle. But we're gonna pick one. If you have a preference, do you prefer the one with the studs or the one with the bows? They're both very cute. But let's get dressed. Pajamas. Pajama pants. This is my first time wearing this dress. It's one of my new ones. It's so cute though. I love fancy dresses, so I wear them quite often. All right, let me show you what we've got. Get this chair out the way. So here's the dress, right? Looks fabuloso. I love a scrunchy booty. Nothing but flattery, right? Very cute. I gotta look in the mirror though, which is over here. Yeah. You can put some jewelry that matches. Very nice. Yes. All right, let's pick a shoe. Again, we have these two to work with. And put one on each foot. I've also never actually worn these shoes like before. I've tried them on, but I haven't like worn them out. This one. Okay. So let's have a look. Get this chair back out the way. Can you see? Do you have a preference? Bow, studs. Bow, studs. Does it make a difference if I change the way I'm standing? The heel is higher on the one with the studs. So naturally, it is not as comfortable for the ankles. But let's walk and see how terrible they are. So like I can tolerate it, but I can certainly feel the height on it. The bow one is more ankle friendly. It's a little bit more professional height, I suppose. But they are both very cute and they both feel okay. There are going to be stairs at the podcast, but I think I can manage. Let me know. Which shoe do you prefer? I am going to unplug my iron. Give you a minute. Like there's not many of you in here, but which one do you like? Which shoe? Before I hop off here, because like we're done. I'm dressed. Do you have a preference on shoe? If not, that's fine, because I'll just pick one. No? My legs have a little bit of stubble, but that's okay. All right, well, that's that, I suppose. Hope you enjoyed. I'll see you later.